Hey guys, I'm Rose Alaimo. Today we're going to be talking about Frozen, which is the second song on my new solo rock album, Grow. Hey guys, welcome back to the Grow Show. It's another beautiful day in upstate New York, as you can see. It's going to look like this for the next 10 years or so. I'm ready for summer. Two quick notes before we dive into this song that I had considered bringing up in the first video for Elevate, but didn't really fit. So we'll just kind of drop them here because they do come into play for the rest of these episodes. The first one is I've had like a bazillion people ask me since I released my first album, and especially on this one, like, who's your drummer? He's really good. And the answer is there is no drummer. It is a software program called Easy Drummer 2, which is so bomb, I can't stand it. I play the instruments on my albums myself, and I can play drums, but I haven't really seriously practiced them in years. So I am nowhere near seasoned enough to participate in a studio recording. So the way Easy Drummer 2 works is you basically have like a MIDI grid, and you can construct the exact drum tracks that you want, hit by hit, beat by beat. So I want like a kick drum here, a kick drum here, snare hits here, hi-hat hits here, toms here, this fill here. You literally construct the entire drum track one hit at a time to exactly what you want. The second piece that I want to drop here, because this person's name is probably going to pop up a lot in the next couple of videos, is a person named Jamie Hill. He is a producer and a bomb human being. He lives in Tacoma, Washington, and has his own studio called Department of Energy Management, which is hilarious because when somebody introduced me to him and I got his email, I was like, oh, this guy, he's like a part-time producer and works at like an energy company or something, but that's actually just the name of his studio. It's pretty awesome. So when I started this album about 2 years ago, I just kind of started, I was about halfway through the first song, Elevate, when I was introduced to him. And we decided to work together on this album, which is amazing because I really needed a producer. I needed someone to help me with the sound engineering parts of recording. So I can arrange and I can write and I can play pretty well, but when it comes to like the finer points of EQ and compression and like using all these different plugins to make it sound good, that's something that I really struggled with and I didn't have on my first album. And so bringing him on for this project was insanely amazing. This album would not have been anywhere near what it was without Jamie's help. He offered me something that he does for artists, which is called mentorship production or production mentorship, where basically, you do what you're doing on your end, you record the song and do whatever, but you bounce the song back and forth to him remotely to his studio where he will get back to you and help you with the sound engineering aspects of it. So in my case, hey, you need to compress your vocals better on this song. Do it maybe to this level. Try this compressor. Try EQ tweaks here for your guitar. It made a huge difference to the sound of this album, and it wouldn't have been where it was without his help. So I'm sure his name's going to pop up in future. So if I mention the name Jamie, he's the producer on the album. So I struggle with anxiety and OCD. I've always had some anxiety stuff, and the OCD really kind of kicked in about 8 years or so ago, and had been getting progressively worse. I think at least partially, if not largely, owing to a super high stress job that I've been in for 12 years, that I have actually recently left, and it has actually been super helpful. So glad I made that move. Frozen was written after a conversation that I had with my therapist a year or so ago, who was kind of helping me manage the stress levels I was experiencing at the time. My OCD stuff generally flares up if I have to leave the house, especially if I'm going somewhere stressful, like work, like my old career. So it's did I leave the stove on? Did I leave a lamp on? Is something going to burn down while I'm gone? And so I just have to check things a bunch of times before I go. And these OCD attacks, they're very similar to anxiety attacks, which I've also had in the past. They're horrible. So basically you just kind of feel like you're completely outside of your body and you're up in your head and nothing is really rational anymore. You're just kind of looping. And he was saying that perhaps I could stay grounded and navigate my way through these anxiety OCD episodes and limit their severity if I could just slow down and be super present during them, kind of what people that deal with anxiety attacks call grounding, right? And just trying to be aware of what I was actually feeling so I could stop listening to the conflicting voices in my head. So everything is off, it's fine, but what if it's not? It's safe to leave the house, but what if it's not, So in an attempt to like really be as present as possible and stay grounded during one of these attacks, I wrote the lyrics of this song so that I could like kind of dissect exactly what I was feeling during the episodes. And I included the conflicting voices in your head in the song.
Check this switch one more time and then I'm gonna go. Repeat the action 16 times and no one knows.
So using I call them the voices because it's kind of cool and kind of creepy, but using those conflicting voices in the song was an idea that I had to fully convey to the listener what's happening during this anxiety OCD attack and what it feels like. Again, sometimes even like healthy, normal people without OCD or anxiety, if they exist, can sometimes have conflicting feelings about a thing. Like, I really want to eat that Snickers bar, but I know it's going to make me sick. Or like, I really want to leave this relationship because I'm not happy, but I also don't want to leave this relationship. So during an anxiety or OCD episode, you've kind of got one voice saying like, everything's fine. Like, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you tormenting yourself like this? And then you have another voice that's just like so freaked out that like nothing seems rational and we can't even really tell like what's real anymore. And I use the voices in the song to represent that duality. So like, if you listen to the song, I'm the one, say, who's in the attack. So like kind of like the lead vocalist. And so we ask, like, I've actually been interested in asking myself, and I wrote the lyrics, like, who are those voices that are coming at us from either side? Who is that voice of the other in the song? And I guess like it could be interpreted as like your therapist or God or like someone who cares about you and is trying to help you through it. But I kind of feel like the voices are like me, right? Or the higher part of me, or my inner voice, or conscience, or whatever. And as the song progresses, that other voice, so that voice of like reason and compassion, and my voice, who's like in this attack, they both start to kind of converge toward like the middle or toward the end of the song, and eventually start to say the same thing and become in sync. So right at the point where it stops and goes straight to acoustic guitar and we start singing I Am More Than This, we notice that the voices start to come together. And that convergence is supposed to signify like a process of healing, right? Like when your head and your heart align and you could just kind of go full speed ahead without conflict. And the song ends on a positive note, and not that the singer is magically cured. You don't, I think, like just cure anxiety or OCD, right? But that, she's got a foothold and can kind of at least stand up and be present enough to hopefully like slowly get a handle on things and move forward. So I said earlier how this was going to be like a hard one to do, to talk about this stuff, because it's just super personal, and I wasn't really sure I wanted to even write the song initially, let alone put it on the album and like broadcast it, But there were two reasons that I ended up doing it. And the first was it fit the album, We have an album about, mental, emotional, and spiritual growth. And this is one of my struggles as I try to grow and progress through life. So I put it on there because it's true. But the second reason, which, was equally, if not a little bit more important than the first, was this. I mean, there's so many songs out there, and it's so, acceptable and easy for people to talk about, depression or anxiety or anger or sadness. But no one's really talking much about or singing about OCD. And I'm super open about it. And in my case, I'm lucky, like it's there, but it doesn't run my life. It's not super severe. I'm not on meds. When things were really bad, when I was in that career and things were coming to a head, I thought about trying them, but I opted again for more of the radical life change approach to see if that would work first. But when I started developing these little habits, again, years ago, they started to kind of freak me out. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? And I confided in a coworker, and she stopped me and she's like, oh my God, I do that too. I was like, really? And again, being open about it, I talk to people about it all the time, and it's shocking how many people say, oh yeah, I totally do the same thing. I have to like touch stuff before I leave the house, or I have to like, this, that, do this, that, or the other thing. And when I shared it with people, it made me feel like, oh my God, thank God. So this is like something that some people just do. It's not the end of the world. I'm not like irreparably broken or something. And so it's on the album because it fits, but I also put it on there because, I don't know, maybe it needs to be talked about more. And maybe somebody will hear it that needs to hear it and feel more comfortable talking about it too. Cool, guys. Well, thanks for sticking around. It's been super fun. I'll see you next week with song number 3 from the album. It's called The Lines. It's a fun rocker. It should be a good time. I'd love if you would subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and leave a thumbs up or a comment. It really helps us out when you do that. And we'll see you soon. Stay well.